Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth episode of chapter 8, accent variation. So in this episode, we're going to talk about pronunciation difficulties among ESL and EFL learner. So in this section, we are going to talk about pronunciation problem that people who do not have English as their first language have. So let's tackle the term of ESL first, because I'm sure that some of you might have heard it for the first time and not unsure like what it is, right? So ESL mean people who learn English as their second language, or we call English second language learner. And EFL are referred to people who learn English as their foreign language. So, which means English is not the official language in their country. For example, in Thailand, English is just EFL because it's not our official language, right? However, either EFL or ESL, they may share similar difficulty when they learn English pronunciation. So this is because most ESL and EFL learners, they are affected by their first language, or somehow we can call it mother tongue. So these difficulties sometimes can lead to the mispronunciation or even miscommunication. So in this section, we are going to talk about some possibilities or some pronunciation difficulties that relating to English consonant sounds and consonant clusters, and as well as the vowel sounds. So let's get started by the first one. The first one is pronunciation difficulty with the consonant sounds. So, almost universally, ESL and EFL learners find these interdental consonants problematic, since the place of articulation is rare to be found in other languages apart from English. So, the consonant like the th or th sound, the th sound, the voiceless, will be substituted with t, s, or f. So, for the th, the voiced interdental fricative will be substituted with the d, z, or v. And next, the retroflex. The retroflex, the difficult will occur with the r and l for Japanese and Chinese, and for Thai, somehow the difficulty occur with a trill, because in Thai, Indian, and Scandinavian speakers, we have like the r and l as a trill sound, right? Like sometimes we might pronounce it as like right. And the last one is the uvula sound. So this difficulty can be found in French and German. So for the third consonant sounds difficulty is voiced fricatives. So voiced fricative, many learners cannot distinguish voice and voiceless consonants, particularly the fricative v, z, z, and z. So for example, the word crab, C-R-A-B, sometimes learners might pronounce it as crab, which the voiceless sound, and as well as the word like leave, the verb. Sometimes if the v at the end pronounced with the voiceless, it might change the meaning to be leaf, a part of the tree, right? And the fourth one, the aspiration of voiceless stops. So the p, t, k occurring before a vowel are pronounced with a noticeable puff of air aspiration. So when you pronounce the sound p, t, k, you can hear like the air, right? So sometimes, for example, in Thai people, we don't have the aspiration like this. So sometimes the word card, C-A-R-D, which should be k sound with aspiration, right? We pronounce it without any aspiration to be gad, or another famous word in Thai, pay, the p sound. Sometimes you can hear many people pronounce it as pay. So this is the difference, the pronunciation difficulties that can be found in EFL and ESL. Next, we're going to talk about the consonant cluster. So consonant cluster, the first one that I would like to point out is initial consonant clusters. Some 2 or 3 consonant cluster starting with S can be difficult for some learners, for example, Thai, Japanese, and Spanish. This group of learners tend to insert a vowel sound between consonant cluster to accommodate their pronunciation. For example, in the word school, school. So it is a cluster between the S and G sound, right? So we don't have any the vowel sound between that. But sometimes for Thai learner, we might add school, school, or spring, spring, to be spring, spring. So we add another vowel sound to accommodate, to make it easier for our pronunciation. And let's move to the final consonant clusters. So for the final consonant cluster, the differences of the syllable structure between English and the mother tongues of ESL and EFL learner could lie into the, it could create through the grammatical endings. Sorry for the typo here. So what I would like to mean in the final consonant cluster is that the first one, the final sounds, like in those grammatical endings, like the ed sound, the s sound, or the th sound at the end, might be the difficulty for ESL and EFL learners if their mother tongue do not have these kind of final sound. Or final cluster with the preceding L, L sound. So L sound is kind of like difficult from the first place, right, that we mentioned. So let's imagine when the L sound occur at the end. Yeah, it's the double hardest. So yeah, the L sound at the final cluster will be the difficulty for those ESL and EFL learners as well as many final clusters, like 3 or 4 consonant clusters. And the next one, we will move to the vowel sound. So the distinguishing tense and lax vowel. Sometimes ESL and EFL learners often have problems with the 2 vowels that are distinguished by their length. For example, the famous example, beach, the tense vowel, right? The long vowel to be like, sometimes you might pronounce it with the short vowel, so it's going to be bitch instead, or sheep to ship. And the next problem is the e and e vowel. So e and e vowel, some learners often pronounce these 2 vowels in the same way. The problem lies within the failure to drop the tongue and jaw while producing the low vowel e. And the next one is the and r. So the 2 vowels are also frequently pronounced the same by some learners. While producing the tongue should be in the rest position and in the center of the mouth. On the other hand, ah is pronounced longer and with the back part of the tongue low in the mouth. And the last one, the schwa sound. Here is the schwa sound. The schwa sound, many of the languages do not distinguish stressed and unstressed syllable, but rather have stress regularly falls on the same syllable. For example, in Thai, ESL and EFL learners whose mother tongues have this characteristic tend to have difficulty pronouncing in unstressed syllable as well as in connected speech. In many cases, is replaced by full vowels. So, as you know, the schwa sound, it is not the full vowel, it's a half vowels, right? So when we pronounce it as a full vowel, so it's the mispronunciation. Okay, and that's it for this episode. So if you have any question, feel free to leave it in our Google Classroom or contact me through my email. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, the fourth episode of Chapter 8. And you have assignment for you to complete. So please read the instruction carefully in our Google Classroom. And see you. Bye.